I am now the President of the United States. I am the most powerful man in the... Oh, no. Never mind. So, this is the game. If you've never seen this game before, it can be very disorienting at first. We'll start with alcohol abuse. So, you'll look at something like this and go, okay, how can I fix this? So, that raised that. I still have 22 political capital. Anything else? What is this? Intelligence services. I can cut back on internet crime. Technology, of course, is contributing a lot to internet crime. Imagine that. Internet crime is hurting GDP. So this probably includes things like, pirating and things like that. Viruses, steal bank accounts, yeah, identity fraud, yeah. So that covers a lot of things that would hurt your GDP. So what are the things that are hurting that currently? Actually, the only thing currently hurting that is intelligence services. High-tech spy service. How much will that cost me? Oh, that only cost $3 million to max it out, and that'll cut it. And see, this is one of those ones that, this is pretty clear cut. It'll cut down in internet crime a lot. It'll make the liberals a little less happy. It'll cut into crime. It'll make the patriots a little more happy. But these two aren't significant enough that I would, really worry about making this change. This is a significant, I can use this to justify these. And again, this kind of gets into the whole police state thing, and, I'm not comfortable with that. But in terms of this game, it is what it is. So, yeah, let's go for that. Okay, so we've done things that specifically affect all of these, and then something that affects that. So now let's go see. So between those two, we've used up most of our surplus. Let's see if there are any other taxes or anything like that. Economy. It is a little ridiculous. The U.S. does not have enforced maternity leave. But, recycling. Oh yeah, and then some of these have, so this will take 5 quarters to actually fully implement. It'll have a cost associated with it, so $8 billion. That's really not that much. This will start helping the environment some, and that was one of the pollution was one of the things that we had an issue with. So this might be something that's good, and that's going to basically burn up the rest of my political capital for this turn. Welfare, public services, public libraries. And yeah, it'll kind of tell you, I don't know where these numbers are generated from. I would think, funding public libraries would be a much more popular thing with voters, but, whatever. The university grants very popular. Also can be very expensive. Law and Order. Race Discrimination Act. Prevents citizens being discriminated against purely on the basis of race. That could potentially help. That's also super cheap. That could help with the mobs, maybe. It's also, it's on the positive side of popular. It's above 50%. Wow, and on the complete flip side, this is awful. Yeah, so that only costs 2 political capital. So yeah, let's implement that. So it's going to have a negative impact on racial tension. Liberals like it, ethnic minorities like it, conservatives, again, that's a small number. I don't know if I max it out. So maxed out, basically in this game, if something's measured in millions, because the US budget is measured in billions, you know, usually if it's in millions, I don't worry about it, because that's a drop in the bucket in a budget that is however many billion the U.S. budget is. So anyway, we're gonna apply that. Yeah, so the U.S. budget is actually trillion, so $1 trillion. Let that sink in for a moment. Our debt is also 3 trillion, so yeah, that's fun times. You know, in any other anything, if you have a debt that big, you know, you really want to work on it. But yeah, whatever. This is another thing I usually do. So military spending is always maxed out. I usually crank it back a little bit. Well, I'm not going to be able to do it this turn because that requires more political capital than I have. I usually crank it back to the highly trained range. I mean, I figure that's still good enough. And, you know, that cuts 50 billion out. You know, that's a pretty good one, but I'm not going to be able to do that this turn. So there's racial tension. Not good. There's our new Race Discrimination Act. So since it just got implemented, it's in gray. It won't have any effect until it is fully implemented, and so it has a delay of 1 quarter. So next quarter it should be fully operational. What was the other thing I was going to do? Oh, recycling. Where was that? Recycling. How much does recycling cost? It's on the fairly cheap side of things. Surprisingly not popular. Well, not unpopular, but it's 46%. Maybe we'll wait on that a little bit. Transportation. Yeah, I mean, I would really like to be able to telecommute to work, but that's not possible for my job. That's also not, in the grand scheme of things, not that expensive, but it's a little more than I want to spend right now. So we're just gonna let that be. Okay, let's look around and see if there is anything else. What are all the things affecting the environment? It's having a positive effect on pollution, or contributing to, I don't remember how those. Let's see. So yeah, car usage, air travel, having negative impacts on the environment. GDP is having a negative impact on the environment. Environment is having a negative impact on the asthma epidemic and tourism. Huh. That seems a little bit bigger than I'm going to be able to deal with this turn. Okay, I'm going to move on. You can usually, anything under about 15 GDP, it seems like you can usually carry over to the next turn. I've tried, just basically skipping through a turn with, oh, hey, I have 25 GDP and I'm going to go straight to the next turn. And it never seems to give me the full allotment of GDP for the next turn. So anyway, we're going to hit next, move on.